So I'm tramping through the woods right now. Through the bush. Bush crashing, as I like to call it. My sister's on my dad's shoulders, and I'm strapped to his front. It's so dark out here. Like, I mean, it's pitch black. It's not like Auckland dark where there's street lights. You can't see anything. There's no roads. There's just an uneven path. Switch. So now I'm in like Yellow Brick Road. And I'm with my best friend. And the music's just like pulsating through me. Sometimes you can't stand still because it feels like all your organs are kind of just jumping on you. You get that feeling, you know that feeling? You just kind of have to keep moving. You just keep going. Sometimes people think we're on substances, but really we're just having a good time. Maybe not. Anywho, I'm sweating so much, and this is how I know. I've been dancing for hours. Switch. So I'm so calm in this state. Listening to the music of love. The music that people make babies to. The music that I was probably made to. I've got this strange kind of bob, a one-hand raise, a head nod, and my eyes just closed. Switch. Now I'm just like an original gangster. Does anyone ever feel like they just want to booty shake? Booty shake? Booty shake? I'm here in the corner. You got it, you got it. I'm not even really a gangster, but sometimes I really feel it. I really feel it. What? Switch. So, what does this all mean? What does this have to do with research? So, kia ora everyone. My name is Ebony. I'm intensely black with a dark olive tinge. I have green eyes, brown hair, a scar on my forehead, and a bad right knee. The research question that I'm exploring is how do dancers search for, locate, and activate their identities? As Black as Ebony is a performative lecture that travels through multiple performance modalities, it's natural to want to know yourself. And we often ask ourselves, who are we? And what does it mean to be me? Switch. Issues that I explore within this research include, is identity given, developed, or interwoven? Come with me as we move through the steps that unpack my identities. Specific to this study, we look at the terms mana wahine, femininity and identity, mana Māori, ethnic identity, mana tinana, physical identity, mana whenua, locational identity, mana wairua, spiritual identity. This research is a quest for self-discovery. It's a subjective investigation of the thinking dancer, the embodied self, the dancing self. As Black as Ebony looks at a solo practice as a tool for agency and empowerment for the dancing subject. How can I find myself in the complexity of life and all that comes with it? I search for this as a dancing spirit, as a mover, maker, and rump shaker. Switch. Why is this research important? We must ask ourselves, what do we understand as our identity? My aim is to create a formula of getting to know oneself as an individual, oneself as a performer. I will apply this to myself to answer my own questions about my identity. This process can then be used for others in the performance world and in communities to ultimately strengthen us as a whole. This process of self-discovery and forming a strong identity benefits the self and the community by understanding what influences you as the individual and how you can influence others. This performance will give people curiosity, a drive to know themselves and where they come from, allowing people to understand their sense of solidarity and significance of them as an individual, giving them a feeling of agency and empowerment. Switch. What do we understand as identities? Well, they are never fixed. We are constantly evolving as we experience new things. Identity formation and maintenance is influenced by one's ethnicity, politics, location, gender, class systems, environment, and numerous other things. Within this research, I aim to investigate how mana and identity can be seen as one thing, overlapping each other as we weave a new space for this particular research. Within this research, mana is used in relation to the ideas of prestige, strength, dignity, binding, self-respect, and others' respect for you. Switch. My Māori culture plays a dominant role in the person I am today. How can I weave my understandings, my whakapapa, my culture, into a dominantly Western woven world? Switch. Mana wahine can be described as the strength of a woman. Dance practitioners such as Josephine Baker, Vera Mentiro, and Gertrude Bodenwieser have helped me shape the mana wahine of this research by aiding my confidence and the importance of a solo practice. Throughout this research, I also draw on inspiration from performative mana wahine such as Kat Rooker, Louise Porticky-Bryant, and Jennifer Roach. Switch. The dominant way that people view one's identity is physically. One's impressions of someone is totally tied up with what they look like and their aesthetic appearance. My physical identity allows you as an audience to mark me as a living being. You follow my external traits, the colour of my hair, the colour of my ebony skin, the shade of my eyes, the attitude of my walk, the pattern in my step, the curves of my waist, the quality of my voice, the character of my laugh, or my oh-so-famous asset. Switch. When I speak about my whenua, I'm looking at the association and the deep connection with my land, with Papa Tuanuku. One's mana whenua can be closely related to landmarks of their iwi. This is culturally called a pepeha. My pepeha describes things such as my mountain, my river, my marae, and so on. They are physical elements that ground me to this earth. They're my culture, a part of my identity that is a constant. Switch. Every individual has a wairoa. This can be explained as one's soul or one's spirit. My wairoa is somewhat of an open book. I believe it's of great importance to connect oneself to their own beliefs whilst allowing an open mind towards other people's beliefs. This sincere framework will allow me to have an open, clear spiritual channel as I move forward in this development process. Switch. My methodology. My methodology that I'm using for this research is a kaupapa Māori solo praxis. Kaupapa Māori can be described as a body of knowledge that intertwines the Māori language and the Māori culture, a form of a Māori identity, a philosophy and a practice of being Māori. As a researcher, I bring forth this idea of a cultural relayering, a undressing to then be redressed. We must take it upon ourselves to interweave our cultural knowledge, teachings and learnings so that the inherencies of both European and Indigenous Māori worldviews can coexist and thrive whilst being acknowledged as different, but also enabling them to work together. Switch. I hope that as I move through the stages of my identity, it allows others to be intrigued and understand the strands of their own identity in order for one to feel confident, to feel empowerment, and to feel a sense of agency in performance and overall society. Kia ora. Thank you for listening. Hello.
Kia ora, thank you.
Thank you.
You talked about identity, you gave sort of three different ways of thinking about identity. One of those was the idea of it being interwoven. I wonder if you might just expand on that a bit.
Yeah, so I have this kind of idea of the multiplicity of the self or the selves. So the term identity is quite problematic because I don't think we all have one identity, we have identities. So there are numerous elements that make up the self. But I think this idea of, not only weaving the different identities that I have in order to create or find or locate or wherever I am, myself, I think it's also about weaving so many things, weaving different ways of research methods to suit your own research and how you individually work, if that kind of answers your question. Yeah.
So in terms of your own practice and what you're developing, how does this sort of interweaving feed into, I guess, like coding output?
So ultimately, this will conclude in a 20-minute performance lecture. This kind of like a snippet of what you've just seen, but a little bit more expanded. And then it will have the half performance lecture and then a half written thesis that will interweave with each other. But in regards to my practice, I'm kind of just playing with the different modes of dance, of speech, of visual image, and weaving all those together in order to create a performance. Yeah, thanks. Hi.
Hi, thank you. So, I'm going to have lots of questions, but your sort of final output is practice, is dance, is a performance lecture that involves dance. Do you kind of talk about your research like this in it, or is it just more like the first half of this presentation, or how different is it to the kind of seminar?
Yeah, I mean, I applaud you as an audience if you followed that, because I feel like the whole concept of identities is quite complex, and as to put it into a performance lecture, I feel like humour is a really good way to get things across, so I would like the outcome to be quite light, and then if you really want to go into depth in it, you should read my master's thesis.
The idea for a performance lecture is intriguing, and I mean, watching you and seeing, do you see yourself as possibly an inspiration to your audience to discover our own identity? That what you're doing here was expanded upon and presented to our audience. I mean, any kind of audience, school children, for example. So
I think as a dancer, you kind of think, okay, let's dance about it, and that's great. But if you find yourself having a passion for public speaking or things like that, and that's how I came across this idea of a performance lecture. But then trying to also make it original and fit myself and not being so linear, as in I'm going to give you a performance and you shall listen, So mixing the two together has been really fun, really fun, and that's what I think research should be. It should be fun. You should enjoy it. So I am enjoying making my performance and using my strengths and my different selves to find whatever it is that's here. Does that answer your question a little bit? Anything else?
Are you finding you're learning lots about whakapapa and is that kind of revealing yourself through your practice even more in some ways, or?
It's really difficult to delve into the different parts of yourself. It's pretty emotional, and it's quite. I find myself self-critiquing quite a lot, which is probably not the best thing to do, but I mean, you can't help it. And there's things that I come across that maybe it's someone that my sister has made this observation about myself, and I'm thinking, is that really me? So I don't know, I think it's actually quite emotional to be open-minded about everything that I am finding. Yeah, that's probably the biggest struggle with this research at the moment is being the subject of the research. You know what I mean? Like I went from doing research with other people and other dancers, and now I am the researched. So that's quite hard for me. Hi.
Can you just interpret the last slide there?
Don't you like it? I thought it was quite clever.
It did something different to me, and I used it for management.
Yeah, well, originally it was challenges,
Oh, yes.
but due to time constraints, you have to wrap it all up. But yeah, it was just something I thought it was quite funny. Things are funny and cool, so why not use them?
I see it's putting the pieces together.
Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah. Well, it is that. Yeah, it can be whatever you want it to be. Yeah. You can interpret it however you want. Cool. Well, I just wrapped up our show.